Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Birds. It's Geoff, Mosher, and Adam Caplan. Guess what? The Eagles just played a huge game. They won it, and now they got another big, enormous game coming up this weekend. Something JalenHurts said about this game against the Eagles and the Lions on Sunday night really I took an interest to, Adam, because it was very interesting the way he said it. We'll get into that in a second. If you're a vibes person, I'm not, but I do think that sometimes what's said and the narrative around the team can reflect what's going on. It doesn't always impact the field of play, Adam, but if you're a vibes person, not a great week for the Eagles, just on the testy press conference that NickSirianni had about the A.J. Brown questions and, of course, the fourth down questions. And, of course, A.J. once again on social media complaining about his lack of production. So from a vibe standpoint, not a great week from the Eagles, but that seemingly has not always impacted them before. But
it did 2 years ago. It hasn't right. This year. Yeah. It's a story in that, and we're not a gossip show. We're an insider show. So if we think something matters, we'll talk about it. This kind of nonsense. Mm-hmm. It matters when it becomes a problem. That's when it matters. It became a problem 2 years ago. You had the Sirianni-Hurts issue. You had the Sean Desai issue, player issue. The players didn't buy into him. They tune him out. That's a problem. Like that's a problem. The vibes were terrible. You had to talk about it. It was bad. AJ Brown talked about it 2 years ago. He was absolutely right. Mm-hmm. When they kept winning, he wasn't happy. There's a reason. It didn't look good.
Right. And remember, you brought this up too, but it really came out. We reported it, but it came out after that. You know how certain veterans felt about not only Desai, but then the whole Desai Patricia thing. It wasn't a good. It was not a good locker room. Well, I remember we ran into one agent and he said his player would never want to go back to that situation.
Okay. So Geoff and I were at the Senior Bowl. Okay. And you just don't know what you're going to get when you go to the Senior Bowl. Geoff and I have known these some agents for like 20 years. So anyway, I mean, they were coming up to us. Did you hear this? They like wanted us to, and there were a couple of prominent agents who had big time players and were it's even worse than we knew. Like we thought we knew, but no, we didn't know enough. But it was bad. But Nick has grown up since then. I know that Wednesday press conference was kind of testy. I can understand why. And honestly, I think you and I see this the same way. The questions were fine.
Very fair. All the questions were fair.
They want to know, like, what the hell was with you going for it? Not only going for, but the actual play that happened. Because then you got the video, and Nick. By the way, Nick covered for the players 2 years ago. Let's call it like it is. After the Seattle game.
Yep.
If you recall that. So I thought it was fair, and I understand where Nick is coming. He just want to start dealing with the stuff.
Yep.
But you go back to 2 years ago and they were winning, and you had the disaster of the defense. It got off the hot start, then became terrible. And then Patricia took over, trying to run someone else's scheme. It was an absolute embarrassment. Okay, never was going to work, couldn't work. You have to know the scheme. Mm-hmm. And then you got the offense, which had its moments in the first half, then had the steady regression, then it was just awful. And Brian Johnson got fired because of it. So it was a nightmare season. Sirianni had to grow up and learn from what happened. Mm-hmm. And what happened is they won a Super Bowl the next year. That's what happened.
That's right.
He got his contract, and him and Howie have a good thing going. But you have this issue, as you talk about, to move this forward here. I could just tell you the way it works, folks, in the National Football League. Anyone who thinks that the coaches are fine with 10 points is on drugs. To think like anyone who coaches the National Football League would be happy with 10 points. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
It's disgusting with this talent on this roster.
I think what happens is sometimes fans, will hear guys say, hey, a win's a win. That's all it counts. It matters. But they don't always hear the stuff that's like when we're in the locker room and we hear, play. And I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about any year. To your point, you don't practice endless amounts of plays Wednesday through Saturday and spend all that time in the fill room, on the practice field, working with your position coaches, your offensive coordinator, your head coach, and do all this for it to not really come out the way you want to. And even JalenHurts alluded to that. He said, we're a work in progress. I get it. It's cliche. He says it every week, but it's true. But yeah, they're happy with the win, but most coaches and athletes, this more than anybody, they're process oriented more than results oriented. So if the Eagles had executed way better offensively and defensively, which is hard to do defensively, but if they had lost on a freakish turnover because somebody dropped something or something crazy, some crazy call, but they played really well, the coaches will tell you it sucks to lose, but our process was good, right? They're happy with the win, but they want the process and the results to match. They want to see more execution for the effort they're giving in. Yes,
you said it well. And by the way, and Nick said, I kind of like when he does this, even when they've actually had a good offensive performance. He'll say, "Hey, we'll beat ourselves up on Monday. We'll go through the tape. We'll be hard on ourselves." Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I couldn't like. He says we'll beat ourselves up about it. I mean, I'm thinking he must punch himself like 50 times on Monday morning or Tuesday morning in this case, because it was an embarrassment. And I listen, we feel it, folks. We have to talk about this. Mm-hmm. We do the Inside the Tape show with Greg Cosell twice a week. Okay. Yeah. We're talking to Greg, and we all, with three of us, you, me, and Greg, joked on Monday or on Tuesday morning. I guess it's going to take you, Greg, 5 minutes to go through the tape because it's terrible offense.
Yeah. And that he was contractually obligated to break down the tape of the offense.
Right. We have a deal with Greg. We have to do this.
we got to do it.
But but to move this forward here, you got Smitty who's having a great season. AJ Brown is still really, really good. I watched his press conference, the get together he had in his locker. I guess he did that Twitch show or whatever with a friend of his. He didn't walk any of the comments back.
No,
it's never ridiculous that he doesn't get the ball. I know our Sam Finkel did the analytics on his separation. I understand that, but you always have to remember where was the ball. You have to understand Hurts does not throw. The way it was explained to me by a strong league source who's graded the Eagles tape because it's his job, because he has the Eagles for some of the games that they have for advance. Hurts, as strong as his arm is, he doesn't, although in the Minnesota game he was phenomenal on it, but more often than not, he doesn't put it out there for the pass target to go at the football. He just doesn't. Mm-hmm. That's just, now deep throws, we're talking about overall passes. If you graded each pass like people in the NFL do, okay, that's how they do it. They don't grade, they don't do it, they grade literally every single pass. It's something that he just is not good enough with, despite having a great arm in terms of power. AJ, like, part of it is sometimes, when you need it here, if you're watching on YouTube, we don't want it here. We want it here. Yeah. Bill Walsh talked about, if you see the NFL Films video, I think it was either Steve Young or Joe Montana. One of them thought he made a great pass. He goes, no, it wasn't. I want it here. I don't want it here.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, okay, I get it. That's run after the catch. You want me, the pass target, going forward, not to slow up. That is part of the issue with separation that is not in the numbers, that you got to only know by tape and context. Man, you'll never get that on social media unless people want to be smart about it. You gotta have context with this stuff.
100%. And again, with the AJ thing, and I know he told reporters it's tough. He's trying to make fun of the situation to get through it. I mean, that sounds like a sort of convenient excuse. Like, what he said was just venting. It's my life's fine,
totally,
my kid's fine. But he's venting, and he's very well. It's not like he got caught like saying something to a friend he's playing a video. He's venting on a platform that's viewed by hundreds, thousands.
He knew what he's doing. He knows exactly.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. And now he did tell reporters on Wednesday night. And man, they had a late locker room. Hurts 6:30, and then the locker room opened around 7. He did say, I'm just trying to have fun with it, but I think he's backpedaling. And
he's frustrated. I just know from the Titans, talking to them at the time of the trade, and talked to so many people close to him there. He's very emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He does really, really care. Now, would you rather him not air his frustration publicly? I'm sure.
Yeah.
But now, if it becomes a problem, and if it does get out, then that's a problem. If you mentioned if it does become a real distraction, then that's a problem. Like, you can't have that when you might be on another Super Bowl run, because this roster is. Howie added 3 players. Well, one of them won't be with the team. Talk about that later.
Yeah.
But one got off to an unbelievable start. Merrill Reese and I hosted the Pro Football Report on Tuesday. Folks, you have to hear the show. I'm not giving you any of the stories that Merrill gave. The people that were at Chicky and Pizza in Warrington, Geoff, almost fell off the chair like I did.
Merrill's a great storyteller.
I've known Merrill for nearly 20 years, something like that. and he and I have shared a lot of stories and fun together. But I just turned the show over to him, and he just because he goes through his mind.
Yep.
And this Doug Peterson story, and by the way, the one that he told Andrew and I, the show before this about him and Chip Kelly. It's
you never know what you're going to get out of Merrill. He's a mercurial.
He doesn't. He's like, hey, I want people to be informed and know what it's like. And I was like, holy bleep, okay. Good, more power to him. So that was a great, fun show. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, let me, because I agree with everything you say. And I think we can both sort of summarize it this way as we move on from the whole A.J. Brown thing is the Eagles have a very strong foundation. They've been able to persevere through this for a while. Yeah. But as we saw, you pointed it up a couple of years ago, winning is, as every player and coach will tell you, winning covers up a lot of that. Winning helps that foundation become stronger. If the Eagles don't win, if they start losing games, and I think this Lions game, some people have sort of related it to the Niners game 2 years ago that they got their rear ends kicked in and then it started the tailspin. I don't expect the Eagles to get their rear ends kicked in. Could they lose? Sure. But if they were to lose, like, not just the Lions, they'd be like 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 6. If it started to get like that, I do think all this stuff that is being covered up right now, as it is, could threaten what they've got. But that's why it's important for them to keep winning. And they have enough talent to do it.
Oh, they have enough talent. I mean, look, again, this is a down year for the quality of the league. They're right up there. They're, everyone can do their own power rankings. If you're being honest, they're a top 2 or top 3 team. The Phillips trade, I know it's only one game. Merrill said it. He can't remember a better debut by a defensive player. And since it's been, nearly 50 years since he's been calling.
Well, that's a good question. I can't think of.
He asked me, and I was like, I don't know. He put me
on the spot. Who's the last big-time defensive player that they traded for to make that kind of a difference?
Should we call to camera right now? Let me call Joe. Let me call 215. Joe will know.
Kevin, I would say Zach Bond's debut game. It wasn't a trade. It was a free agent signing. But Zach Bond's first game as an Eagle was incredible, right? That was,
but I would say more after a trade though was the context. And I have no idea.
Slay was traded for it, but that wasn't in the middle of the season. Yeah,
correct.
I mean, I'd have to go. You'd have to go way back to really find. I'll give you a great one. Will Witherspoon. It was a linebacker that they acquired from either the Titans or Rams. I can't remember.
He was so good for the Rams. Yeah, and it just didn't work here. Good dude. It just didn't work.
Well, no off-ball linebackers were really working in the late Andy Reid era. That's
Dude, my man, I just can't believe how good their backers are. I'm kind of like, when we said this a couple years ago, you won't be embarrassed about the linebackers. Little did we know. I mean, we don't do rankings on this show, but I have a hard time believing the threesome. I know Dean right now is better for what they need than Campbell. I understand that. But the 3 of them together, are you serious?
I never thought I would be an Eagles reporter when they had too many good off-ball linebackers. And don't forget, Trotter's not bad, right?
No, he's not.
He could probably play. And Oren Burks came in last year and played at a really high level too when he had to in the playoffs. So go figure. Hey, it's Geoff Mosher. And if you have a family and kids at home like me, you always want them to be fully protected. That's why I'm thrilled to be a Simply Safe customer. And our house is equipped with the most technologically advanced alarm system you can get. If you could actually stop someone from breaking into your home before they got inside, why wouldn't you? Traditional security systems only react after a break-in, but Simply Safe is different because it stops crimes before they happen with Active Guard outdoor protection. Their AI-powered cameras detect threats while they're still outside your home, and they alert real security agents. These agents take action while the intruder is still outside and confront the intruder to let them know they're being watched on camera and police is on the way. And that's how you stop a crime before it's committed. There's no long-term contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel anytime, and it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Try it and see the difference for yourself. Do not miss out on Simply Safe's biggest sale of the year, 60% off. Our listeners get 60% off a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/bird. That's simplysafe.com/bird. All right, let's move on to the really pressing news. Obviously, Jaire, I swear I'm going to write a book about the crazy things that have happened in Eagles lore, and Jaire Alexander will be up there with them. you and I were pretty skeptical about the trade. I mean, they gave up nothing, so that's not the part of the skepticism. But was he really going to come in here and help the team if healthy? If he was the Alexander of a couple of years ago, yeah, you could see it. But there's a reason we both said that the Packers gave up on him and the Ravens gave up on him, and so I didn't have high expectations. But I also didn't think he was just going to up and leave.
No, but I think I think when you really look at it, right? So after Thursday's practice, which is the first practice of the week because they played on Monday night, he told the reporters that's the best he's felt since last season. I was like, okay, all right, let's hope he doesn't have a setback. I'm saying to myself, little did I know. So basically, think about it, and this like rarely happens. So I'm pretty certain it was prior to them flying and after the walkthrough. They put him on the injury report with a knee, and they also let reporters know that part of it was coach's decision. He wasn't going to travel, and that he needed more time to learn the scheme. Totally understand that match carry deliver is not for everybody. You have to learn how to the match system that Fangio uses, which some teams use, by the way. It's Jacorian Bennett wasn't totally getting it before he got hurt, by the way, with pectoral strain. So anyway, okay, and then the next thing you know, it gets out there from my guy Glazer, and I was like, wow, really? And you and I were talking about it. We're like, wow, he looked pretty good from what we understand in practice. And then I don't know, you never know though, because it was a major knee injury and surgery. You never know if it could swell up the next day. That's the thing we don't know because nobody gets access to him.
Yep.
But you could only go by what you know from the information that's available. Is that the fact that they put him on the injury report Sunday is obviously something happened. He wasn't feeling right. And the fact that he's on the reserve retired list, it's the way it works is he could come out of retirement tomorrow. The Eagles actually have to reinstate him. Now they could wind up cutting him if they want. Now we're not totally sure where they left it with him. They've never said they wouldn't take him back, but he needs this time away. Let's hope he's doing okay. Wish him well. And we obviously have to outline what they have going forward. Now with him out of the picture, they were definitely counting on him to contribute. I mean, it's the fact.
Yeah, they were hoping. They certainly were hoping for it.
They thought he was going to, and now that he's not, we're back to square one.
That they were going to, I got to tell you, then that's on them. I mean,
why would you make the trade?
There's a difference between because it's a dart throw. If you have nothing to lose, you're hoping that maybe he can be the guy that two other teams couldn't get out of him over the last year and a half. But if they were pinning their hopes, thinking 3 weeks from now this guy's our starting cornerback, sorry, that's on them.
Let's put it this way. You don't make a trade. Okay, Christian Parker, maybe he still talked to him. I know he didn't coach him technically. He was a defensive quality control coach. That means you're not coaching him. You might know the player because you're on that side of the football. With the Packers. But we know that Eric DeCosta and Howie have known each other for a number of years. And whatever intel they had suggested they thought he could be ready at some point in the near future. It could have been a week, 3 weeks, but guess what? He's not. So let's move on. And now they're back to square one. We're past the trade deadline. They never worked out Asante Samuel Jr. They had no interest in him. Okay. Okay. He signed with the Steelers practice squad. Now, technically, if you can do it, you can't block anyone from signing a player off the practice squad. You could offer him a 50. If you have him on your practice squad, you go, hey, don't sign there. We'll move you up to our 53. Right. That's all you can do. So, but to this point, they've shown no interest. So all you can do is really you try to poach a player off a practice squad by talking to the agent, or you work out players. They're not working at corner. So it's right now going for Bennett. By the way, was activated off of injured reserve. He's now on the 53. He takes Alexander's place on the 53. They're back to the limit of 53. You've got Ringo and you got Jackson and you got Coop if you need to. And Mac McWilliams, as you know, Vic clearly doesn't think he's ready to help them.
Right. I mean, yes, you can look at practice squad guys, and maybe there's somebody out there you like who's a veteran who's good, but he's depth. They have two options. Their options are either try to continue to hide Adoree Jackson and see if you can get away with it, and if you can't, you move Cooper DeJean outside and play Michael Carter at nickel. I can't imagine that they're going to poach a dude off the practice squad who's going to be their starting right corner when everybody's healthy.
Oh, I would go. Listen, exactly. I would go with Coop in a minute, and Vic's got to just, as much as he doesn't want to do it because Coop is remarkable at nickel. It's just you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Okay, this team is just as good as anyone's, if not better. And you got Michael Carter, who got indoctrinated in practice last week. So now just be careful. When Sirianni talks about the players, it's always positive. It's very rare. Like you could tell when Andy Reid was here in Philly when he was not happy with a player's performance, there's a certain thing he would say.
Yep.
But with Sirianni, the guy could have the worst game ever. Oh, he had some good snap. Like he won't tell you the truth. So when he's talking about Ringo, I just kind of laugh because they think so little of Ringo.
Yeah.
They only played him on defense because Quinyon left the game for a little bit. So let's just be careful of what Nick says. I understand that's his job, and God bless him for doing that. Try to say things positive.
It's just so funny though when he says like, oh, we're really happy with Adoree. Ringo has given us good play. Well, then why have you traded for? Why are you signing a guy like Jaire Alexander? Or trading for a guy who can't get on the field?
I laugh, and I wanted to text. So I didn't. I was when you texted me. I was out on Wednesday, so I didn't hear the press conference. I was like, oh, I got to hear this because you were explaining to me what happened. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to listen to this. and I laughed. And then Mike Gill asked you on football. No, he said, oh, well, Sirianni thinks Ringo is doing well. And I almost wanted to text Mike, are you serious? You really believe that? I mean, he's a great special teams player. He's great at it. But, yeah, I mean, this is 3 years now, folks. Do you need more? They don't want him to be starting. What more do you need? They wanted him to. They tried so many times. It doesn't work, unfortunately. Anyway.
Yeah, it's transparent.
Hey, I still like a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink, and that's why I looked for a great alternative, and I found one. It's called Sol's Out of Office Gummies. You get the same light, happy buzz, but you don't have the hangover. There's no sugar, and you don't get that awkward feeling the next morning. They help me unwind and ease into my evening without the alcohol or the next day fog. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Sol specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance your creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe. From a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. They've also got a variety of products specifically designed to help you get a better night's rest, including Sol's top selling sleep gummy, a fan favorite for deep restorative sleep. So bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Sol today. Right now, Sol is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. So go to getsol.com and use the code BIRDS, BIRDS. That's getsol.com, promo code BIRDS for 30% off.
So the only good thing about Jaire Alexander stepping away and going on the reserve retire list is that we don't have to argue anymore. Not argue. We don't have to like sit there and play the guessing game on who then has to become the guy that gets excised from the roster to clear room for Jacorian Bennett.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Jacorian Bennett's back on the 53 and they're good. And when remember they were at 52 when Nolan Smith came on. So now again, they're good here at 53 without having to lose anybody else's job. So that's good. And we'll see. Like you said, Bennett wasn't getting he wasn't healthy. And then he wasn't getting the system. Then he got hurt. And so it's hard to get familiar with that system while you're hurt and not getting out there and getting the practice reps. But he's been in the window now for this will be week 3 or no, the 3-week window expired. So he's been out there. So hopefully if you're the Eagles coaches, you're hoping maybe he made some strides here and, he's not going to be the starter, but
no, but let's put it this way. He'll absolutely be playing if he's ready. They traded for Bennett. Okay. I understand. And you're absolutely right. He had trouble with the system. Okay. He changed. He not played in the system. It's not for everybody, the match system, because you match, you carry him to an area, you deliver him to him. He wasn't comfortable with it. Okay. And then he got hurt. He's been out for a while. If Vic thinks he's ready, he's playing. He'll be it won't be now that it's just where they're at. Okay. They've gone out of their way not to play Ringo a lot over the last 3 years. They've done it when they've had to. You also have given him time after time after time and a try. It just didn't work. Okay. Bennett's here. He could run. His tape was pretty good when he was healthy last year, but he had both shoulders fixed. They're good. Then he has this pectoral strain. So we'll see. They're out of options. We're past the trade deadline.
Yeah.
The other option is putting Coop over there. Now,
right. They got to see what they got. I agree with you. And I think, Adoree, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Adoree Jackson might start, but, the guy gives up, again, they've been hiding him well, but he gives up 3 or 4 catches in the first quarter. I think the leash is short, and you're going to see Bennett in there as
well, either that or let me tell you something. Vic, look, you got to win games, and Coop is a hell of an athlete. The guy was a corner before all this. Let's not forget the Eagles drafted him to play corner, but certain things happened due to injury, and they moved him nickel, and who knew?
Yep.
So with Jameson Williams coming to town, and I give Dan Campbell, we're going to talk more about this with Greg on Friday or whenever we do the pregame show. But Dan Campbell called plays at 21, didn't do a great job of it. Did okay, not great. He fired Anthony Lynn, or Anthony Lynn, he reassigned him. Anthony Lynn was in over his head as a play caller, but pretty good running backs coach. But Dan's learned a lot since then. He's become a great head coach, one of the top. And he called a hell of a game against Washington. I know Washington had all sorts of injuries. That's not the point.
Right.
He got Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams was awesome in that game.
Yep.
Look out Sunday, man, because you got Amon-Ra, phenomenal. Now, Laporta, we'll get into their injuries. Their injury report, all of a sudden, they added a bunch of players to their injury report. We'll get into that. But it's going to be a fun matchup on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football. Then that caters well to our next topic, the injuries. So the Eagles had a walkthrough Wednesday, so that's an estimation. And I'm very curious to see what it looks like today and tomorrow with this short turnaround, because you kind of talked me off. I thought having the entire starting offensive line except Jordan Mailata on the injury report as limited for a walkthrough was not a great sign. But to your point, and it's better than them not, like the way Lane Johnson was really struggling there, came out and had to go back in, and Cam Jurgens we haven't really seen. I guess it's a good indication that they were at least limited, and you hope that they can get to full and better as the week progresses. Well, there's nothing better than full. You just hope they can get to full as we progress.
By Friday. Yeah, by Friday.
Right.
So basically, they had a walkthrough, obviously. Now, although Chip Kelly would probably practice on Wednesday, but that's another story. Chip believed like having the walkthrough on Friday and the Saturday practice. Boy, the players really loved that one. Anyway.
Yeah.
So limited was Dixon. This is a new injury, quadriceps. Yet another new injury for him, but he did get some light work in on Wednesday. Lane Johnson with the ankle did participate on a limited basis. Cam Jurgens did a little bit with the knee. Cool. At least he participated in the walkthrough. Tyler Steen's injury is new. It's an oblique. Those are, he's not a pitcher in baseball who'll be out 2 months. If you have an oblique, you're done for a while. But skill position players more often than not don't play when they have an oblique injury the same week. So we'll have to watch this one, but at least he participated in it. The long snapper Cal Adamitis with a finger injury, he did it in full. So he's going to play. Bennett full. Darius Cooper the shoulder. The cool thing is he did participate in. Remember, he re-injured the shoulder in the game. Then he came back. The phenom who fans on the internet love, Willie Lampkin with the knee and ankle. He participated. See, here's the thing though. I think you said this best last week. What's the point of bringing it? Like, okay, you can let him practice. That's great. That's part of getting to know who he is as a player is letting him practice, because you can't, if you don't designate him for return, he cannot practice.
Right.
So at least they get a look at him, but he'll never be it's like what? He's an undrafted free agent, right? He wasn't drafted by the Rams. He's an undrafted free agent. He wasn't here. He's barely been here. So you don't really know the player. Are you really going to activate him then? I'm active on game day to potentially play. That's a long shot.
Yeah, I liken the situation with Willie to a little bit. I don't want to not apples to apples to Lewis Seen last year. Now Seen was obviously a first round pick but the whole point is they're on the 53-man roster, but their intent is not to play this guy this year. It's to have him in the building, have him practice, develop him so that next year when OTAs and camp come around, do you have something there? I can't imagine there's any intent to get Willie Lampkin on the field this year.
That would surprise me. Willie Lampkin, by the way, on your point, has a 3-year deal because he undrafted free agent signed 3-year deal. So
right,
he signed through 2027. So he's an intriguing player, man. I know he's short, but do we know his arm length offhand? I can't remember if we had his measurables.
I don't offhand.
Okay. But the bottom line is he's a developmental player. This is a good one. It was controversial because you typically do not claim players off. You don't claim them when they're wave injured. It's very rare. It's not seen as good practices, but you know what? So what? All's fair in love and war. The Eagles know Howie knows Kevin Demont very well, the president. You know, he knows his people. It is what it is. But you know what? You're trying to get better. That's the bottom line.
True. You're trying to get better. And he's an interesting guy. So really, it's the offensive line we got to kind of monitor here. You're right about that oblique injury. That can be tricky for skill position players, maybe less for linemen, but still not great. I mean, you don't want to have an offensive lineman who's got like a soreness in the chest area or may have like range of motion issues in blocking or pivoting.
Right.
If oblique is really hurting him. So
sure.
Definitely
side, by the way, just so people know. If I've had an oblique strain, man, it can't even, it's hard to sleep with it. It's not good. Yeah, he looks like he was a non-combine invitee because I'm not seeing my numbers here. But anyway, so yeah, let's get to
talk about the Lions injuries.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, by the way. So here are the ones that, as I understand, they're concerned about. Terrion Arnold is still in the concussion protocol, folks. To say they're beat up a corner would be an understatement. So DJ Reed, he signed a big free agent deal. He's been out since week 5. He had a severe hamstring strain. He started working back Wednesday. They won't commit to knowing he's going to. They want to get him through practice this week. It would be a surprise, but you're letting a guy with a hamstring strain practice. You must feel pretty good about that. It's healed. Why would you risk it, right?
True.
Ennis Rakestraw, a second-round pick, will not play this year. He had major shoulder surgery. This guy, he barely played last year. He was going to be their nickel.
I know that sucks for them.
Yeah. So what they're doing now, this is where they've run out of corners. So basically, I will tell you in a second. Rock Yassin, formerly of Temple, you might remember him. He's now kind of a journeyman. Boy, time has flown in the National Football League.
Well, he's played for the Colts. He's played for the Raiders, I think. He's played
Niners.
For Niners. Yeah, he's been around.
Ravens, right. He is now, he turns 30 in May. Okay. So basically what they're doing, because it's a nightmare with all these injuries. If Arnold doesn't play, which is realistic, you're probably going to, Rock Yassin will start. Now, Amik Robertson, they play in nickel. He was drafted by the Raiders to be a nickel. He's a smaller player, but really aggressive and tough and smart.
He played really well for them.
They do play him sometimes. He's been a great, exactly. Remember, he was like, wow, he's actually going to play outside. Wow. Arthur Millette, who's a journeyman corner, has been with a lot of teams. Rock Yassin, they do have Avonte Maddox. He's playing sort of safety and nickel. But what they're doing
they're not going to be scared of that. Yeah.
I know, but they don't. And then the other big one, this is major to me. Kirby Joseph is highly unlikely to play. One of the top 3 or 4 safeties in the National Football League. Phenomenal football player. Highest paid safety in the NFL, number 31. He's been out for the last 3 weeks with a knee injury. Dan Campbell did not give him a time frame to return. They're starting Thomas Harper, who they claimed off waivers from the Raiders. If you follow Notre Dame, he played there. He's starting right now. They're getting away with it. Good coaching. But yeah, I mean, they're getting away with it, and we'll see what happens. So they've got a lot of injuries on the back end. Then the new injuries, which just popped up this week.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up.
The big one's Aiden Hutchinson. Now, didn't sense any concern, but we'll learn more about the rest of the week. He's got an elbow injury. Obviously, he's a phenomenal football player, so on a major contract extension. Oh, one more, which is interesting. It's actually important. Brock Wright, their wide tight end, one of the highest paid wide tight ends in the National Football League. He's got an ankle injury. So watch that, because Laporta now has a back injury. Sam Laporta didn't work on Wednesday. And I'm just looking at the guys who did not work. Penny Sewell's an ankle injury. We'll learn more about that, the right tackle. So they're really beat up. I mean, the Eagles are one of the healthiest teams in the National Football League comparatively to the Lions. And the Lions are just, they're making it. But I don't know what it is about the Lions and their cornerbacks and injuries. I know Dan Campbell, he does hit in training camp. If I recall correctly, I think every team does wear pads at some point, but they may have hit in the regular season a little bit before. I remember hearing that maybe some years ago, but I don't know what it is, man. I don't know why they get hurt so much.
I don't either. That team, the Lions and the 49ers, and the Commanders are an old team, so I get that. But
yeah,
I feel like the 49ers have like 8 to 10
all the time.
All the time. It's crazy. Yeah.
Look, remember the Chargers for years, and they still are. And I remember talking to them. They said they did a study. They did everything you can to try to change their routine to be healthier. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but getting that guy from Penn Medicine, Arch Denoda, who does the analysis of injuries and how long they should practice and all that stuff. It all works, man. Yep. Sports science. One of the few good things Chip Kelly brought here was sports science, man.
That's right, and the smoothies. They're still
around. And the Saturday practice. Oh my, the players absolutely. I mean, I read it curse once. I apologize for it, but
oh my God, they complained about that endlessly. I remember once saying, I'm like, oh, it's a walkthrough though, right? He goes, ain't no walking going on. They were right. They're like full speed practices. I was like, wow.
I don't know how long they were, but what do you? Oh well, medical science backed it up. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that is the injury and the transaction intel, and this is a fascinating game coming up on Sunday night, and we're going to have it covered even more so on Inside the Birds pregame show. Myself, Adam, Greg Cosell, he'll have the tape breakdowns, and we'll get all the latest injury intel in that last one before we set you sail for that great Sunday night game. That's going to do it for this edition or episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.